So we'll start this thing off. We're talking about using video effectively and just trying to. So these guys are all up here. They are using it, and they are using it effectively and how they're doing it. So we're going to let them kind of get into some of that details. I'm going to turn it over to Jeff here to ask the first question, and we'll go from there.
All right, I think the probably the biggest question, and that's why there's a lot more people in the other room, because they're scared of it. So ultimately, it's a big part of our business. And the first one I want to ask is, what did you do to get over your initial fear of actually doing video? What made you pull the trigger and commit to, okay, I'm going to do this?
Sarah had a shot.
I would say that I didn't get over that fear, still not over that fear, but I just look at it as a necessity to my business. And if you ask anybody who's ever been there during my videos, I'm usually shaking beforehand and kind of sick to my stomach, but you wouldn't really know it if you watch the video. I just kind of go with it, and once I start talking, it'll go away. You just have to force yourself to get past that and move on, because it is a very integral part of where our business is going and what we're doing. So it's just like going out in front of people, making that first presentation. It's nerve-wracking. So it's just another step. And you gotta remember, nobody's really watching you, it's just in the camera. Especially when I do live videos, it's nerve-wracking. But you get past that part and you just start talking. You're there by yourself or with one or so people, and you go with it. And and if people see you're nervous or whatever, I think it makes you seem more. They're more comfortable with you. And my
Jonathan?
Okay, so video is just another medium for marketing ourselves, right? And the way I saw it and got over my fear was all the marketing that we do is in an attempt to create mind share in the marketplace, right? When people think about real estate, we want them to think of our names first. And I just noticed through myself and the people whom I know as we scroll through Facebook, which is where I do all my video, we tend to stop and spend a little more time watching videos than we would reading through somebody's script that they have written. And that was really what inspired me to want to do this with more frequency, was simply when people think about real estate, I want them to think of my name and my face first. And that's why I do it.
I'll differ from that a little bit, because I don't want people thinking of my face. It's not the best thing to look at. So my name, Aaron is out there, and King Field State, whatever. But bottom line is, I want the recognition. I want the name recognition. I want my name out there. Yes, my face is out there, but name recognition is a huge thing. And most of my videos, I might have a picture of myself at the end. But it's name recognition. It's Russell. It's Aaron Galata Real Estate Team. It's it's just hitting on that over and over and over. Bottom line, I've never gotten over my fear. I've been on the acting stage since 5th grade. I auditioned on Broadway in New York. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that you just never get over. And it's not being so scared that you're not going to do it. It's being comfortable with it enough that you can get up there, put yourself out there. You're making yourself vulnerable, okay? And you never get over it. It's being comfortable with it and learning to deal with it. And those are the things that are going to help benefit you. The more confidence you have going forward, and yes, having nervousness makes you real, okay? If you don't have that nervousness, you're just a machine, okay? And robots and whatever, a lot of people don't like that. They want you to be true. They want you to be genuine.
If you know how to do that, you're going to be better off.
Well, first of all, I am naive because I did not consider about putting myself out there, and now I'm self-conscious. Thanks. Tom John Ferry said to do it. He said that it would help our business, and my very first video, you could hear my heart beating, absolutely. But we're talking real estate. That's like what we know best. So if you give me a topic that I know best, I can fake it till I make it.
When I shoot a video, I don't do live because I'm not confident in it, and I oftentimes do multiple takes with the same message. And I am certain every single time before I post that video that I look like a tool when I review it. But I do it anyways because I do believe it's effective.
All of us feel a lot more stupid than we actually look, okay? And it's the same for you too, okay? You don't look as stupid as you think you do. You know, on the inside it feels a lot worse, you know, so it's like when you walk into that wall, Josh, and you think everybody's looking at you and nobody actually saw it. So it's the same thing.
So why do you think using video is important?
I think using video is important because it's another means to the end. It's another way of advertising. People are perceptive of things moving and lights and glitz and glamour. It draws attention. You know, it's more than just a picture. It's more than just words on a paper. It's something moving, something interactive.
It's where people are at, right? How many of you guys are watching video all the time? I mean, you're even on Facebook and you're like, get stuck in this cycle of, oh, just do the next one, just do the next one. So, you know, that's where the audience is on video right now. And that's why it's really important.
And sometimes they're stuck in there because video just automatically starts playing.
Right.
So now they're already wrapped into it,
Right.
right? As they're scrolling, they're like, oh, what's this? It's a house.
I know that it's important for me. I've never sent out postcards. I've never marketed any other way. It's all I do. In the springtime, last spring, I did interview videos, and I would go live with landscapers, lenders, in-house painters, different people, and I would go live. My first video, the whole thing, was sideways. If you go to my Russell page on Facebook, my first video is sideways. But I have people contact me all the time, and they're like, we know you're so busy, and I'm thinking, oh yeah. You know, but they do. They assume that I am very busy, and I stay busy, and that's where all of my business comes from, is from my videos. And you can go on my page, and all my interviews, anything that I do, they can look at those videos, and they can go back. It's somebody who's not in the market, wasn't in the market last year, can go on there now and see my video with a lender and say, oh, you know what? We should watch that to see because we're looking to buy or sell our house. So it's an archive on Facebook, and like they say, things on the internet never go away. So it's forever on there. So my sideways video is forever on there, so.
Jonathan, do you want to put on why it's important?
You know, in addition to name recognition, I think by and large, Americans are hardworking people, and we like seeing people work. We like seeing hardworking people. So if you put yourself on video working, you are going to command more respect than otherwise.
So, here, where do you use video as an agent?
On the internet. Social media. I mean, just about every social media aspect that's out there, I will put it out there. I mean,
Specifically, do you do like walkthroughs, before open house? Do you go live or any of that stuff?
No, I don't do live. You know, for the simple fact that, and this is just my personal opinion, so if you do live, it's nothing to, not a knock on you at all. I want mine to be refined, I want mine to be right. I spend a lot of time on my videos to make sure my wording is correct, make sure, you know, everything that I put in there is exactly the way that I want it. You know, hence last night, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, I fell asleep with my laptop on my lap working on a new video because that's what I do. You know, I have no life. But so no, but I use it. You know, I'm advertising the houses with it. you know, and putting clips of my houses into videos that are going to stream through with my words, with my advertisements, with my slogans, with everything that's going to go with the Erin Delauder Real Estate team. But it's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn, it's on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's on Snapchat, it's on every social media aspect that's out there.
Nikki?
Yeah, social media, I put them on YouTube a lot so that I can use the links to email them. Sometimes I will re-email it to somebody who visited an open house just to kind of say, hey, I don't know how many you visited, but remember this one? And then also reverse prospecting. I almost always will send that link to everyone in the MLS that has a client that's maybe has a potential interest in this house so that they can kind of get a preview for it too and go from there. They can share it, email it off, and that kind of thing.
Sarah?
I actually, I've only been with Russell for a year, and when I started, I had just started doing the interviews. And I went to the Strongsville office, and I'm very sorry, I cannot remember the gentleman's name who was helping me, teaching me how to embed the videos and stuff, and put them on and create a YouTube channel and do all that, so everything was together. So I try to incorporate, if it's a live video, then I download it and then I put it on, I'll put it on Instagram, a snip, it only lets you put a smaller portion, but I'll put stuff on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I always put things, some people don't like this, but I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot more friends on my personal page than I do on my business page, so I will go live on my actual real page and then download it and carry it over to my real estate page because I want to pull that audience from my personal page so that they're all on my business page. So I put them everywhere.
Jonathan?
I've only used Facebook at this point. I have, and I have two pages. I've got my normal real estate page, and then I have a page that's specific to the community in which I live, where I like to, I'll put messaging out there that is specific to that market.
Jonathan, we'll let you keep the mic here. Can you maybe give some of these guys here, because I've seen so many videos of all of you guys, maybe some tips for somebody new getting into video, maybe something that you could help them maybe get into it, and what would be something
I'm that guy, Jeff.
What's that?
I am that guy.
You, see?
The new guy getting into video.
Okay. So what would you share with these guys as far as something that you've learned really quick since you just started doing that, maybe you could share with these guys?
Okay, so I try to put out a pretty consistent stream of content on Facebook, whether it's not just video, but articles that I find that are relevant, either to the marketplace in whole or specific to where I live and focus. And I've noticed that the interaction and the responses that I get to the videos are definitely greater than any of the other types of messaging that I put out there on Facebook.
Okay. Sarah, how about you? Any tips?
Yeah, I would say don't move around too much because you don't want to make your audience dizzy. And pay attention to the surrounding noise. If you're doing an open house, I do video tours because pictures are phenomenal. But when I list a house, I like to do an actual video tour. It gives a better idea of the flow of the house. And I will start outside on those. And you gotta pay attention because the wind's whipping or there's outside noises. You might not notice it, but when you play back that video, it's very, you know, it's distracting. So you gotta pay attention to that kind of stuff. You can't always make sure things are optimal. Last year when I was doing an interview and there's a place over at Wolfie's. Where it's less crowded and stuff. Worked out great for a couple weeks. Well then, the last week we did it there, we had a couple of guys sitting at the table behind us during the interview. So, you know, you gotta be really conscious of your surroundings when you're doing the videos, of noise, that kind of thing, and your movement, because you really don't want to make your audiences here. They're gonna click and they're gonna be off and they're not gonna watch it anymore. So, you know, that kind of stuff you need to be aware of.
Nikki, any tips you could give somebody new getting into video?
I got a $5 selfie stick that helps a lot. It was $5. I got it at Target in the dollar section. I mean, really, it's pretty self-explanatory. You really just want to, the point is you're selling the house, so show the house. And, you know, you said don't move too much, but I do move a little. I move
You
slowly.
just got slow.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't you memorize your script. There's nothing worse than logging onto a video and it sounds so mundane because they're reading off a script. Like, that sucks. That's not fun.
Aaron?
The only other thing I would add to that is be cautious of the length of your video. Every one of us has a form of ADHD of some sort. And that's not a joke. We get bored, okay? And that's why we like video, because it is captivating, it is entertaining to us. But if the video gets too long and it's monotonous, you lost them right there, you know? So your typical video, you know, for an advertisement, just like commercials. Commercials are set at 15 and 30 seconds. That's what commercials are. So if you're just doing an ad, that's along the lines you want to look at. If you're doing a live video or something on a walkthrough on a house, try to keep it under 90 seconds. You know, anything more than that, you're kind of losing people. But again, make sure that you're reiterating who you are, who you work for, and everything else, because that's the bottom line. That's what you want to accomplish.
So Aaron, do you boost any of your videos, or how do you see the traffic compared to maybe regular marketing?
Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of money over the last couple of years boosting ads and videos and stuff like that. For the most part, now the things have kind of changed in the Facebook realm, where boosting is not getting you as much as joining all the different groups and putting it into those different groups individually, okay, or as a sales pitch. I'm getting a lot more activity off of those than I am from boosting it. So I haven't given up on boosting because I still get it, but you know, going into those garage sale groups, those real estate marketing groups, everything else, that's really where it's benefiting me a lot more.
I just second that. I agree. I do get more from sharing them in the individual groups than I do really just boosting it, but I also had to do some research. So I found out that when you boost an ad on Facebook, it's kind of false promises. It's only 3% of your target audience. So believe it or not, the wider the audience, the less you're going to be seen. The smaller the audience, the more often in that 3% is going to pop up. So I have found that maybe I might narrow per price range. I have a $55,000 house right now. I'm probably going to be aiming towards maybe a smaller, maybe a single woman. It's only 3 bedrooms, but one's sort of like a piggyback bedroom. So anyways, I'm going to target that audience and maybe stick to the younger price range in one boost, and then another one maybe targets maybe some of the senior citizens who might be downsizing. I'm not going to open it up to everybody because a 30-year-old person is not going to walk into this and with 3 kids. It's just not going to work. So I kind of found out if I narrow my audience to a little bit more, Facebook will flag it and say, oh, your audience is too narrow. They're lying. Just use it.
So how do you see the increase in traffic with video compared to other marketing?
Well, since I can't necessarily track my postcards as well, yeah, absolutely.
Sarah, do you have any input on regards to boosting?
I do boost my stuff. It's my stuff. Russell is also helping us boost. Another benefit to working with them. I boost any of my videos. And I had a house that was going to expire. It was a condo. It just wasn't going, and there was no negotiating with her. She wasn't that bad. So what I did was immediately, the 2 weeks leading up, I boosted that video again, and I was just able to get it sold beforehand. It makes a difference. It really, really, truly does make a difference. But you got to watch your audience. I mean, again, a condo is different than a 200,000 square foot house. You definitely got to pay attention to your market on those and adjust it. It takes a little bit of actually looking at it and not just going with what the presets already are on that. So you got to play with it a little bit.
Real quick on that, just to elaborate a little bit more, the audience is key. Trust me, I mean, if you have a $500,000 listing, marketing to the people that are looking at $150,000 homes, you're not benefiting from it. You know, they all like to look at the $1 million homes and how many can afford them. You know, so that's the bottom line. I mean, we're not in the business of showing houses. We're in the business of selling houses and homes to, you know, people that are legitimately looking for them. You know, if we just want to be professional house showers, we can all do that.
Jonathan, do you want me to put on Boost or?
I do. It all depends what the content, what the messaging is. If I'm going to do an open house, I definitely boost it. If the messaging is not a direct
sales related thing, if it's more just informational, I usually don't. I take Aaron's approach and post videos into different group rooms, things like that.
So one thing I'll ask you, Nikki, because I know you're doing it, is you have a video for a more or less like a pre-listing / marketing plan for listings, since this is what this is geared to.
Right.
Can you run through kind of your mindset, what your goal is behind that?
My goal is to make my listing appointment face-to-face with them just a little bit shorter by kind of giving them a brief summary, like, hey, these are my key points of the marketing, my marketing plan. So that way they're already, plus it kind of makes me stand out. I've asked before, have you received any other pre-marketing videos? And the answer was pretty collaboratively no. So I think that made me stand out a little bit. Then when I get there, I'll say to them, well, did you get a chance to look at my pre-marketing video? And of course they say, oh yeah, I loved it. And so then I can skip some of the parts and get to the meat and potatoes, which they really care about, which is that CMA.
So, Aaron, is there any specific time that you post that's more effective than another, or do you just get what you get?
No, I found that Mondays are a little bit slower than later in the week. Mondays, everybody's going back to work. Tuesdays around lunchtime are good times for videos or any post for that matter in Facebook. Everybody's back to work, got bored with work a day and a half later, and they're back on Facebook. So during their lunch hour, and usually beyond that. So.
Sarah, any special time you post your videos, or?
I did, like I said, when I do interviews there at a set time, I would tell people who I was meeting with the next week, so it was at a set time so people knew. And if you're doing live, I always did it at a set time and let people know ahead of time so that the fun thing about live is they get to ask you questions. So, if people are asking you questions, if you need to know, or you're not going to have that audience in there, you don't want to just have a random in that kind of scenario, or you won't get any feedback on that. But other than that, I'm kind of, like I said, I get really nervous, so I'll kind of get a bug and say, oh, you know what, this is going on, it'll come up at meetings or whatever that, as far as anything like people holding back listings or not holding back listings, but the way the market is. If there's trends going on, I will go on and talk about it, and I will do it random. Those, I definitely go over and over and try and make those more perfected and, make sure that my wording's correct, and those I have a blooper reel on. But I post them anytime. I don't have a specific, it's whenever I have the courage to do it.
So, Jonathan, are you doing a specific time?
Only when I boost and advertise a video ad for an open house. I do that right before the weekend, and so that way it's getting max exposure right before it.
You're talking Thursday, Friday, or?
Either or, yeah, those are the 2 days I'll do it.
Sarah, you mentioned that you really think Facebook Live is like the greatest. So can you elaborate on that a little bit, on why, and maybe tell us a little bit more why you think that?
I like the interaction on the Facebook Live. For me, it's encouraging to look down and see my mom sending me hearts and other people I know. Or the first few videos and stuff I did, I get Sarah, quit playing with your hair, or but it humanizes it for me. It makes it it relaxes me a little bit more just to have that interaction and know that the audience. I haven't had any bad feedback yet, so that was one of the questions. I haven't gotten beaten up on Facebook yet, so hopefully I don't. So it's more positive reinforcement when I'm doing it, so it's better for me that way, I think.
Nikki, do you use Facebook Live at all?
Yeah, I do a lot actually. I find like the audience, well, first of all, when I do my live, it's always with a house, like right before an open house, or maybe I'm just trying to get the house out there somehow and I first list it. So I almost kind of think that the people who like it, those do better than my polished pictures, because you can Photoshop the picture of this house to make it look better, but doing it live is raw. Like, that's organic. That's what the house actually looks like. If you were to come into it right now, that's the house. So I think that's a little bit why those do better as far as showing houses or showing off the house.
And I know Aaron says he doesn't go live, so I won't ask him that. I think Jonathan answered that question too, that he doesn't do it live. Jeff, you got it?
Yeah, do you, Aaron, do you use any special tools? Do you just use your cell phone? Do you have a camera? Do you?
Yes.
Great.
I use my cell phone. I have cameras. I have programs that I have purchased over the years that you know, they're not that expensive. There's a lot of different ones out there. You can pay for a lot, you know, and get the same amount that I'm getting, or probably, you know, more, you know, by paying less. It's just a matter of doing your homework and finding out what works, you know, what's available out there.
Which, Nikki, I know you said you have that $5 selfie stick from Target, so
Yeah.
everybody put that on your grocery list.
You hold it up here and it makes you look thinner.
So Sarah, I have a few questions here. We've kind of covered a lot of these. I mean, we could.
Sarah, you mentioned something in video that one of the things you talk about, like we're talking about doing new listings and things like that. You mentioned that, like when there's a change in the market, it's a good time to do a video. Can you explain and elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, last year, whoever was a realtor last summer knows that it was rough for buyers. There was multiple offers, and I would get first-time buyers that, you know, their families or parents are telling them, oh, you need to get a good deal, you can get a good price at $80,000. And when I would see trends like that, and I would have to keep repeating myself, listen, this is not the way the market is right now. If you want this house, you need to be prepared for what's going to happen. So when there were trends like that, I would go on and I would do videos advising people. I would go on if interest rates were going up, if there were changes or anything like that, I would go on and I would do a video and I would talk about it, just so they kind of knew what was going on. So, and people watch them. So it's just informative.
Jonathan, are there anything special that you like to video besides just listings, or is it really focused just on houses and stuff?
Before I knew Sarah did it, I took a page out of her book. I actually have a number of interviews lined up with different professionals related to the industry, just to talk about different topics that would educate the marketplace.
And how about you, Nikki?
So far, mine's mostly just been real estate.
Okay.
But I did a couple of, like I did my pre-listing sort of market video. And then last year I did do a video with buyers, and I got to address the whole why you need a pre-approval. I didn't see like that did as well. I was trying to send it to buyers that I just met, or buyers that I was just, you know, kind of getting ready to take out. It didn't do as well as like the listing videos and the real estate videos, but I like the idea of doing interviews.
Aaron, how about you? Anything besides houses do you talk about as far as video, or is it just mostly the listings?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's getting personal. No. Yeah, I mean, houses are the biggest thing, and advertising myself and the business and Russell and, you know, my name. That's pretty much the most part of it.
Have you guys done any special events or anything? Maybe even a Russell event, you know, or something like that that you can get behind?
I have plans in the works going forward, but nothing has been, you know, done yet.
Okay. Jeff?
So, Nikki, like I said, we're kind of got through these questions pretty quick. So, do you have any intention, or do you plan, or have you done any personalized videos to a specific client? Like, you know, like FaceTime with your family or something. Like, have you gotten to that level?
I had to do FaceTime with I had some investors that lived out of town. So I would FaceTime them or Skype, depending on what, if they had an Android, I think we both had to download this app called WhatsApp. And then we were able to video to each other while I walked through the house. So I do use that when it comes to it. If there's somebody out of town or somebody who says, hey, should I come into town for this house? And I said, well, let me just take you through there and see for, you know, they can't just take, I mean, they could just take my word, and they should just take my word, you know.
To touch on that, I did FaceTime somebody through a house that they bought sight unseen, well, just sight seen through fake, you know, through just video, so.
So we're gonna open up to some questions now. Rich, you had?
Yeah, are there any legal ramifications for taking video through a person's house while it's listed with someone else? I've always wondered, you know, I mean, like,
Yes.
the security of it.
You have to have the permission
from that
inside
zone.
the home. Outside the home is one thing from a public, and I know this from law enforcement years, but if you can see it from the road or a public place, it's public, okay? If you can not see that from a public place, then you have to have the permission of that person to be done.
What about if shooting an interview in a restaurant? Does that apply to shooting an interview in a restaurant as well?
No, restaurant is not a public venue. That is owned by a private person.
So do you need their permission to do your live feeds in there?
From a restaurant, yes.
I will say the ones that I had permission and they knew what I was doing.
Oh, we have a tattletale.
Can I take you back on that 1 second?
Yes.
Be very careful too. I know you guys like to get creative and say, oh, I can't believe I saw this in a house.
Yeah.
You guys all know the posts I'm talking about, right? People get very upset with those posts. If
I
it's their
don't. Tell
house.
me.
So,
That's one you don't want to go viral with.
yes. So, you know, home inspectors do this a lot too, which really surprised me.
Yeah.
You know, this is a new one. I can't believe I saw this. You got to get permission from that homeowner, and you're probably not going to get that. So, be very careful on those kind of posts. Okay?
On the listing side, we have permission because it's covered in the
Yeah.
listing agreement. And we're signing off saying that we're permission to take photos and what have you, so.
We'll jump over to Stephanie.
So how much do you give away? So if you're doing like an open house, or you want people to come to your open house, how much do you give away like about the house? Because you don't want to show the entire house on Facebook, because then
I
they're not
have no
gonna show
problem
up.
showing every bit of the house because bottom line, nothing beats being in the house.
Yeah. Is that something that you?
Everybody I've ever had come into an open house or show them the house, this is not the way it looked in the pictures, this is not the way it looked in the video. It's going to look different. So I will show as much as I can, trying to get somebody in there because each aspect of the home is going to pertain differently to somebody else. You know, not every person is looking for the same thing. So there's going to be one little minute thing that might draw somebody else in.
Does anybody else want to elaborate on that question at all?
I was gonna say something.
It's only gonna draw more interest. I mean, right now, I think that my clients are sending me houses faster than I can send them to them. And I mean, I see that on conversion, I can see how many houses they looked at. They can't get enough information about these houses, and they're so excited to go see them. You can't show them fast enough. So the more information that we're giving them, and I think that a video is actually giving them a bigger picture. If they're really interested in that house, they're going to want to come see it. It doesn't matter if you show a video or not. They're still going to actually want to visit and come see it in person. Right? It's just going to give them even more, I mean, unless it's a...
John, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I've actually done the opposite. I will try to find a feature of the home that I think is interesting and allows me to paint a picture with words, I guess, for people who are looking at it to try to entice them to come and see what the rest might look like.
Okay. We got a question over here?
So you have two expenditures for a video, this time and money. What would be an explanation for the creation of a video for a good presentation of a video walkthrough on a house that you like, or excuse me, that we want our buyers to like?
Wait, what was the question?
So
Speak up a little bit. Say it again.
You said you have time and money as expenditures in creating a video. And so to create one for a walkthrough, to create an enticing videography of the house, what would you describe as your effort in time and money to do that?
So how much time is it taking you guys to put some of that stuff together?
So the video portion, honestly, I used my program that automatically came with my HP laptop for Windows. I didn't purchase anything. I literally have a $5 investment so far into the videos that I have out there. The rest of it is kind of on autopilot, so once you put it into the program, whatever it is that you want to video, you know, and I guess it depends on what my video is. If it's a house.
Does that give you the quality that you want in that format?
I think so. I don't know. Now I don't know.
Well, you gotta look at the public side of it. You're getting traffic. How many views have you gotten on most of your videos? Like 1,500 or more, correct?
I mean, between 3,000 and 7,000 on average.
Yes, really,
so.
that answers the question. Me asking you, do you get what you want?
Yep.
Getting 3,000 to 7,000 hits, I guess, is.
Then yes.
Yeah, I don't think comparatively, I didn't get into real estate to spend all of my money marketing myself. I'm not. This isn't a. I don't want to use a company name, but I don't want to put all this money into marketing. You know what I mean? I'm here to make money, not spend a bunch of money. So to me, this is a good avenue. It's not expensive. It doesn't, I mean, I do boost posts, but that's even cheap comparatively to other ways that we market. I don't buy leads. I've never bought into Zillow. I don't do any of that at all. So to me, this is very cheap, and all it's costing me is my time. And it's on my schedule. So to me, that's definitely worth it.
And just my return on my investment has been probably 20-fold.
Jonathan, how about you answering that question? I mean, is it worth your time and effort of what you've been putting in, and what are you getting out of it?
Absolutely. I mean, I would just parrot the same thing that these guys have said. It's definitely worth it, in my opinion.
Any other questions out here? Ron?
Sarah, when you do the interviews, are you doing 30 to 90-second interviews? Or?
No, I do longer interviews.
Okay.
Only because they're more informative, they're more detailed. Sometimes we'll come up with questions ahead of time. Like the first one I'm doing this season is with a landscaper. So he's actually, we're doing it at a property. We're going through the property and saying, okay, so you're going to list your house this spring. What are things that you need to do to get the exterior house ready? And it's a conversation, you know, with them and a walkthrough. And then he's actually going to come back and they're going to have done the property, like a spring cleanup. And just show people what they can do for the exterior of the house. So that's like the first interview I have lined up for this season.
So it's good
But they're
advertising
longer.
for him and for you.
Yeah, and it is, but those are about 15 minutes. But those are longer videos, you know, they're a different thing.
Andrew, you got a question?
Oh, yeah. So for the properties that you're posting, if you post them on your own business page or you boost them, you might handle them differently than you do in groups. I'm curious how you handle that traffic. So are you directing them all, first of all, to conversion if they click on it? And then are you requiring registration?
Any lead capture built into with your video?
Mostly. I mean, that's kind of.
That's an Aaron answer.
Go for it.
Yes and no.
Mostly.
But I mean, no, I don't capture them all through conversion for the simple fact of I do a little bit of both. And what I do is, you know, I like to put out stuff that does not require them to log in, so it kind of generates more activity on my links, my posts, my videos. So they're sharing it, they're clicking on it, and then when they get to see my name more and more and more, yeah, they have no problem. They're comfortable with me at that point, then, okay, I'm signing up, you know, and I'm good, and I already know you. I'm getting phone calls daily that, hey, I saw this, you have some higher-end homes, I like that, want to talk to you, you know, and it's generating a lot more. I'm not having to completely lock them in through conversion, and trust me, conversion is going crazy for me right now. So, but I'm getting additional ones from the ones that I'm not locking in through conversion. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there that I'm, you know, benefiting on both sides.
You said it's like a more personal,
Yeah.
they know you before you know them.
Right.